Great news, Shajib. Today we have many newcomers.
That's great.
Yes. I guess I can read the participant list. 下川さん、I think you are the first timer. 下川さん、今日初めて。
はい、よろしくお願いします。
お願いします。
お願いします。
あと、高谷、若林さん。みんな続々、参加者名簿を英語に変えてくれてるところが素敵ですよね。ありがとうございます。若林さんも今日初めてでしょうか？
はい、今日初めてとなります。よろしくお願いします。
お願いします。児玉さんも初めてですよね。
はい、そうです。お願いします。
お願いします。あと、ゆさんは、ゆさんはどうしたんだろうな。初めてですよね。よろしくお願いします。Okay, so we have two repeaters who are Ibuta.
Yeah.
こんばんは。
Okay.
And we have another, あれ龍が。Okay, another repeater is 龍が。
Okay.
Okay, and apart from that, everybody is new to this lesson today. Great, we have 10 participants. Nice. All right.
Okay.
So because we have newcomers today, let me very quickly introduce what this lecture is about. So, those who haven't seen our YouTube channel, please take a look after this lecture. 基本英語で進行していくんですけど、厳しいよっていう方いたら、手を挙げてください。お願いします。基本英語進行にさせてもらってて、困ったときは僕が、翻訳を入れるっていう形にしてますので、よろしくお願いします。Okay, let me share my screen. やっぱ英語はですね、本当に覚えておくと建築設計の世界で生きていくにはとても有効なので、私も実際英語を使っていろんな仕事、設計の仕事をやってます。ぜひ、これは非常に貴重な機会だと思っていただいて、留学せずに日本にいながら英語で建築の用語を学べるっていうのは最高の機会だと僕は思います。誇張なしにそのようにお伝えします。留学経験者の建築英語が聞けるっていうのはまあまあ貴重だと思いますので、よろしくお願いします。それで、これまでの過去2回私とシャジブ、KAFA& シャジブって書いてるんですけど、Do you see my screen, Shajib?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. Rhinoceros Lecture for Beginners, KAFA& Shajib って書いてるんですけど、KAFA っていうのが私の、個人的な設計活動の組織名になってます。和高藤井アーキテクツで KAFA っていう名前です。で、いろいろこういうアート作品ですとか、過去の、ゼネコンの設計部でやっていた時の仕事ですとか、あとは、今現在の仕事はちょっと映せないんで映してないんですけど、あずさ設計で今設計をやってますけれど、あと、個人の活動で今こういう個人住宅の内装のリノベーションをやったりとか、意外とグラフィックデザインもやったりとかしてるんですけども、そういう個人的な設計活動、デザイン活動をやっているのが KAFA っていうもので、シャジブっていうのが今日来てくれているレクチャラーの講師のシャジブです。彼はバングラディッシュ人なんですけれども、 これまで複数のプロジェクトで一緒に仕事をやってまして、今現在、こちら今映しているのがですね、ここの参加者にも入っているイブタ君が実際に今このプロジェクトに関わってくださっているんですけども、福岡の糸島っていうところで、アート作品を作っております。なんかこういう卵が2つ重なったような形の、アーティストの瞑想空間、アーティストのための瞑想空間を森の中に作るっていうプロジェクトをやっています。で、こういう構造体を作るために、ライノセラスとグラスホッパーを使って、シャジブと僕と一緒に、デザインをしたり、実際に制作するための部材を図面化したりとか、そういったことをやっていたりしています。こういう活動とか、今一緒にコンペに参加してるんですけども、そういうことで個人的な私の設計活動のサポートをしてくれるっていう形で、シャジブがいます。で、彼がもう相当、そのライノセラスとかグラスホッパーのスキルが高いんで、ぜひ日本の学生さんにも、あまり得意な方がいないっていうのが分かってきたので、ぜひ広めたいなっていうことで、彼がですね、過去にすでに、数年間にわたってライブ講座っていうのをライノセラスとか、その他諸々の建築設計にかかるソフトについてはもうほぼ、すべてと言っても過言じゃないんですけど、アニメーションソフトまで使いこなしていて、そういったものの使い方をマスターするための講座っていうのを開いているんですね。で、それは今まで英語でしかやってなかったんですけど、外国人向けにしかやってなかったんですけど、今回私とのコラボレーションで、日本人に向けての、サービスとして展開しようということでやっているのが今日のこの回になります。はい。で、前回、前々回、1回目、2回目とやりまして、今日が3回目になります。で、3回目の今日までが、その一応無料講座としての最終回になります。で、全10回のライノ講習を受けると、基本的なライノセラスのスキルが身について、いろんな皆さんの設計課題であったりとか、プロの設計者であっても、実務の中で活かせるぐらいのスキルが身につくというものになっています。で、学生さんが10回コースで9800円。で、一般の方が29,800円っていう、かなり破格で、シャジブの方で提供してくれるということで、貴重な機会だと思いますので、もし今日のレクチャー聞いていただいて、これはいいなと思っていただいた方は、ぜひぜひ登録していただければいいのかなと思ってますので、よろしくお願いします。今のところ、5名ぐらいの方がですね、すでに参加を表明してくださってまして、Shajib, how many students can you take at the same time? 30?
Yes, we can take the maximum of 30 students per session, I guess.
All right. And I guess because it's the first challenge for us to introduce for Japanese person, we should kind of reduce the number maybe to 20 to make the quality of the service.
Yes, no problem.
Yeah. なので、残り15枠、枠はたくさん残ってますけど、初回ということで、価格も初回なので、皆さんに知ってもらいたいということで、お試し価格でかなり安く設定してくれてるんで、今後は多分、もし人気が出てきたら上がっていくようなものになると思うので、1回目受けていただくのが多分一番お得になると思いますから、ぜひ、捨てても惜しくない金額だと思いますので、9800円であれば、今日は受けていただいて検討してください。Hi, James. Nice to meet you. ジェームスさん。Okay, let's start from now then. So,
Thank you, Lucas.
Okay, I'll pass the mic to Shajib. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, guys. So I have something to say. I was thinking, should we continue the lessons from the past two class, or should we introduce Grasshopper as it is the last free class? So this is a good opportunity to introduce Grasshopper
Right.
for the students.
Right.
What do you think?
I think today.
I was saying, should we
Okay.
should we start with from the last lesson, or should we start Grasshopper? As I was saying, what do you think?
I think we don't have to repeat the same lesson. We can go to the new stage.
Yeah, new stage in Rhino, or should we introduce Grasshopper? I mean, we only talked about Rhino for the last two class. Should we continue the lessons from Rhino, or should we start and introduce Grasshopper for the students?
I think introducing Grasshopper is more interesting because everybody can see more possibility with what we can do with Rhinoceros and Grasshopper.
Okay,
It
that's great.
Depends on what you are going to include in the 10 lessons.
Yeah, I will have around 3 or 4 class on Grasshopper in the final lecture, because in ArchTwist, we usually have separate 2 courses, one for Rhino and one for Grasshopper separately. But I think for this task, we can think of one course that includes both the courses. And that will be more interesting and fun. Yeah. Even if it takes 1 or 2 more classes, more than 10, we can include that. Yeah. I don't mind taking extra classes.
Yeah, I definitely think we should introduce Grasshopper in this 3rd lesson.
Okay, so we will basically then introduce Grasshopper for the students, so that they can have an idea what we can do with Grasshopper and everything.
Yeah,
and
that's better.
Yeah, okay. So I'll start.
All right. So
can you see my
it's going
screen?
to be more like an introduction of what Grasshopper can do, rather than everybody's learning the actual Grasshopper skill for today.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So it's basically we will have more detailed lessons on Rhino when we have the final and full course, and in the later part of that final course we will have Grasshopper in details. But in today's class, I would like to show students what Grasshopper can do and why we use Grasshopper and what they can do with Grasshopper, so they can have an idea of overall what they are going to learn in the final course if they take the full course.
I agree with you.
Okay. So welcome everybody. I'm Shajib. You already know me if you have joined my previous classes. Those of you who are new, I am an architecture graduate from Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology. I work with KAFA on various projects. So that's why we are doing this as a venture where students can learn Grasshopper and Rhino. So I have already taken 2 classes. You can watch the YouTube recordings of the previous 2 classes, and from that you can learn the basics of Rhino and the interface and how you can work with curves, surfaces, etc. And when you take the full course, we will have more detailed lessons on other various topics. But today we are going to introduce Grasshopper, a very powerful parametric plugin from which you can do a lot of things that is in traditional modeling, it's missing. So I will start the lessons on Grasshopper so you can have an idea of what you can do. So those of you who are using Rhino 6 and 7, Grasshopper is included, and you can, if you are in this standard tab here, you can see this green circle. If you click on this, it will launch Grasshopper. So like this, you will have a green window and it will launch a new window where you can work with Grasshopper. Okay. So this is the Grasshopper window. You will usually have this. So this contains the last few of the Grasshopper script that you have worked with and some example. So you can generally close this and you have this new window where this is the Grasshopper canvas where you work with Grasshopper. It's a separate window. If you have two monitors in your desktop, you can use this window in a new monitor, but the usual practice is people use this way. You can use half of the window for Grasshopper and the rest of the half of the window you can use for Rhino. Usually we work on perspective view. I am not sure if you already know that you have this 4 window, top view, front view, right view.
Shajib, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
There's a few students cannot join the meeting. Do you have any idea why? Like Ibuta cannot join this meeting.
Please share, copy the invitation again. I am sharing the invitation here.
Yeah, I did send the link.
Did anyone face any problem joining the link? Anyone else who are here?
No, I think everybody who are here didn't have problem. Sometimes Zoom does this strange thing. Yeah, Ibuta says he cannot join.
Please share the meeting ID and password as well. They can join from the meeting ID.
Okay, can you send it to the Rhino buying group?
Yeah, sure. Let me do it.
Okay, sorry. ごめんなさい。ちょっとお時間ください。Ibuta, he's there. Okay, we can go ahead. So, sorry, I think, yeah, I'm recording. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so as what I was saying, we have this 4 window. If you double click on any of this view name, double click like this, you will have this as a full screen. So you can work on that particular view. So when you are working in Grasshopper, try to work on this perspective view and you can rotate and see what's going on here. Okay, so what Grasshopper is a parametric design tool for modeling. So you need to first understand what is parametric modeling. Okay, for example, if I show you very simply to make you understand what parametric modeling is, say I am trying to make a cylinder. Very simple. I can just use, I can draw a circle like this and give it a height and it becomes a cylinder. It's very simple. You can do the same thing using Grasshopper as well. Let me show.
あれ、スピード大丈夫ですか？聞き取れてる？もうちょっとゆっくりの方がいいですか？ゆっくりの方がいい人はちょっと手を挙げてください。大丈夫？ Shajib, can you do it maybe a little bit slower?
Okay.
Today I think
Sure.
you're very excited and talking fast.
Okay, I will go slow.
All right.
No
thank you.
problem. Okay, what I was saying is that you can make a cylinder very easily like this in Rhino. Just take this from this solid, you can just draw a circle and make a cylinder very simply. Okay. You can also do the same thing in Grasshopper as well. If you double click here, you can write cylinder. And here I have cylinder. And for this, you need a base. Usually you don't need to give any input here. You need to give a radius. I can give 10. So if I connect this 10 to this radius, and we need to give it a height. So let's give it a height of 20. Sorry, it's very simple because I'm using millimeter. I will just go for 10,000. 10,000 is too big. Can go smaller like this. I am copying one. Okay, so this is a cylinder which I made directly in Rhino, and this is a cylinder which I made in Grasshopper. What's the difference? The difference is when I'm trying to make make a cylinder, it's easier to make in Rhino, just one cylinder or maybe a fixed cylinder. I know the dimensions, like what's the radius of the cylinder, what's the height of the cylinder is fixed. I can just draw a cylinder very quickly. But if I'm not sure, if after making some part of the modeling, I want to change the dimension of this cylinder, it's very difficult. Like you don't know how to scale this. Like you can do it like this, but it's not convenient. Or maybe you can scale this with one scale 1D like this, something like that. But in Grasshopper, you have these parameters. This is the parameter of radius, and this is the parameter of the height. So if you change the parameter of radius, you can increase the radius of the cylinder. And this is the parameter of length, that is height here. So you can change the parameter of this height whenever you need to change the height. So you have this parameter and you are using this parameter to make something. So that's why it's a parametric modeling. So I will show a quick example why it is useful in many cases. For example, this is for example, you are trying to make a installation or something like that. And you want to draw a lot of cylinder like this, a lot of various size and shape cylinder like this. If you try to make this in Rhino, you will need to draw a lot of cylinder, and maybe you need to copy all this cylinder by point, a lot of work. But if you do this in Grasshopper, it's very simple. I can just bring this curve from Rhino, like you can contain this curve inside this component. Don't worry about how it's working and how you connect, why you connect, and everything. I will describe in details how these things works. But for now, I'm trying to make you understand what is the difference between general modeling and parametric modeling. So don't worry about I'm not understanding why you connect this here and here. Just see what's the difference between the type of modeling we do. So I can just now do a populate 2D here, and I can give a region, and I can give this. So did you say it's if I wanted to do this in Rhino, it would have taken a lot of time to make all this cylinder at the same time. But using Grasshopper, I can make this kind of installation very easily. I will show you more interestingly. Let me just this a little bit more interesting for you. Okay, so for this kind of work, like now, say you have all these cylinders in your 3D, and now you want to now you feel that you need to change the height of these cylinders. If you are doing this in Rhino, it would take a lot of time to change all these heights individually, or it is a difficult process. But for our case, it's very simple. We can just change this slider and make it lower, and we can increase the height. So this is the difference between general modeling and parametric modeling. Parametric modeling is based on various parameters, and these numbers, what you can change and change your model as a whole, is the parameters. So this is the difference between.
Sorry.
Okay.
We can ask
Yeah, you explain.
Or impression. なんかここまででわかんないこととか、聞いてみたいこととかあったらぜひお願いします。もうすでにグラスホッパーの存在を知っている方は、こういうのできるよねって思ってるかもしれないし、存在は知ってても、ここまでなんかめっちゃ便利じゃんっていう感覚がなかった人もいるでしょうし、全く知らなかった人は多分もう今びっくりしてると思うんですけど、どうでしょうか？大丈夫ですか？ じゃあ、下川美玲さん、なんか一言お願いします。ここまで分かった、分からない、面白い、面白くない、何でもいいので、ぜひお願いします。
面白いで、なんかグラスホッパーは私、授業でバーッと一回やったので、
あ、そうなんですか。
大体わかるんですけど、
うん。
じゃあ、見てたら、ああって感じなんですけど、実際自分がやるってなると、
うん。
全然まだチャレンジしてなくて、
なるほど。
そうです。で、今見て、ああって思いながら見てました。
僕、授業でグラスホッパーを日本の学校でやってるっていうイメージがつかないんですけど、あ
う
の、
ん。
なんとなく、どうなんだろう。あんま実践的じゃなかったりしませんか？そうでもないですか？
そうですね。なんか実践的じゃないし、半年でバーってやる感じなので、
うん。
全然身につかないで、だいたい流れが分かって終わるみたいな感じです。
だらだらなっちゃうでしょうね、きっとね。
そうなんです。
Okay, Shajib, this is very important information from Mirei-san. She
Yeah.
she takes class of Grasshopper at university,
Okay.
and she
Okay.
did half-year course at university, but she hasn't got experience to actually use it in her project, and she found your presentation very interesting because I think and it's very instant and I think you're very showing in a very practical way so that student can
Yeah.
instantly use the skill.
Yeah.
なんかね、これ例
Thank
え
you.
ばこういうのをすぐ課題に突っ込みたくなりますもんね。とかそういう感じ。
そうなんです。そうです。
これだ
実践的
とそういう
に
感じで
使えるよ
ね、じゃあ四角作りましょう。その四角を2つにしましょうみたいな感じで教えてくれるでしょ、きっと。
そうなんです。
うん。OK。そう。ありがとうございます。すごい貴重なご意見いただきました。Alright, let's move on.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone uh, who feels it's useful for them to learn. Thank you. So as I was saying, Grasshopper is very intuitive and you can do a lot of work, repetitive work in sometimes we need to do a lot of repetitive work, copying things, pasting things, changing shapes, and whenever you need to make a corrections, you need to go back and do the whole process again. But if you are doing it with Grasshopper, you can anytime just change the value and this will work just fine. So for example, I have randomized the size and shape of the cylinders with generating random numbers here. But something like this can be done very quickly if you are doing this Grasshopper. And now after doing a part of it, if you think that I need more cylinders, if you are doing this in Rhino, you need to again copy and paste and change shape, everything. But now I can just increase this number from 50 to 100. And you can increase the number of cylinders. If you think it's too much, you can decrease the number. Again, if you want to change the radius, you can just change this radius value here. Sorry, this one is height and this one is for radius. So something like this. Or maybe you don't want this much of variation, you can change this to a value where it's almost same. So this kind of change at a later period is much easier if you are doing this through Grasshopper. So this is the main benefit of working with Grasshopper. And we have a lot of things that can be done very easily and quickly with Grasshopper. I will show some of the examples today so you can have an idea what you can do with Grasshopper. So I will create a new file and delete this cylinder here. And I will keep this curve. Okay, let's start with Grasshopper interface. In the interface, it's almost it's similar with the Rhino interface. You have all these various tabs here: parameters, math, set, vectors, card surface, etc. And if you open your Grasshopper, you will not see this many tabs in this upper part of your Grasshopper, I guess, because I have installed a lot of plugins for Grasshopper here. So I have few more options here. Don't worry about it. I will show you how you can install various Grasshopper plugins in your Grasshopper as well. But you don't need all the plugins, so don't bother. So as I was saying, these are the basics that you will find in your Grasshopper as well. So whenever you are trying to bring something from your Grasshopper, for example, I will make a say it's a room or it's a building. So I will just make a wall like this, and maybe this is a building and this is one of its facade, this surface. Okay, so this surface may be one of its facade, and I want to do something here with Grasshopper. So it's very simple. You can work a part of it in Grasshopper and part of it in Rhino. So for example, all the other part of the building, you can do it in Rhino as you are doing, as you have learned working with Rhino. Don't worry. You can just work on Grasshopper where it's useful and it's necessary. And it's important that you need to learn both the part. You need to learn Rhino as well and Grasshopper Grasshopper as well if you want to work with Grasshopper. So when it's easier to make things in Rhino, you do it in Rhino. When it's useful to do it with Grasshopper, you do it in Grasshopper. So say I am trying to make a fenestration or facade on this wall, and it's easier for me to use Grasshopper. So I will bring this wall to Grasshopper. Okay. So this wall, for that I will need to bring a container. Container is, you will find the containers inside this params tab. In the first tab is the param tab. Under this, you have a lot of options that you can use to bring elements from Rhino to Grasshopper. So this is a surface for me. So I will use the surface parameter here, and it's a container. Usually the containers are these hexagonal shapes. So just right click on this container and set one surface if you are trying to bring just one surface, or if it's multiple surfaces, a lot of surface, then you can use this multiple surface as well. So for me, it's just one surface. I will select one surface and select this one. So now you can see I can hide this wall from Rhino, but it's still visible because it's in the Grasshopper. So now I want to make some kind of facade. So you can, for example, I am trying to make something like maybe louver. So I want to make something like this horizontal and vertical louver thing. So if I try to make this in Rhino, it's a lot of work, a lot of line and plane and everything. But in Grasshopper, I can do this with some simple tool very easily. I can just bring this one here and input this, and it's already done like this. So you can use these parameters. For example, I give it 5 and 5. So these are the number of divisions. They're asking U division and V division. So if I give it here, you see I have changed the number of division. If I want, I can decrease this. If I want, I can increase this as well. So maybe sorry, I connected it here, and I will increase. Say I have 2 and like this. So I like this, maybe more than 10. I give it 15. Yeah, something like this. So this is a kind of fenestration I want to make. So I already have the lines. So I can just, or even you can use the grid structure from here. It also do the same thing, but it's not panel. So I will just have the lines, and I can make this pipe. So I can just use this, and I can give it a radius of 100 millimeter maybe. So this become a pipe. So this is a pipe. I can just bake it in Rhino and close Grasshopper, and you can see rendered view. I have this kind of very simple. You can do a lot of customization and all the curve and everything. I will show that sometime later. But you can see if you wanted to make this this kind of frame in Rhino, it would have taken a lot of time. But with the help of Grasshopper, you can do it very easily and very fast. So this is why Grasshopper is very useful for our cases. So this is one example. Another thing that you can do is say you have some truss structure in your building. So I'll just go back to shaded view. Say you have this 2D truss. So sometimes we use this kind of this kind of structure, right? I will increase this to 500, I guess. Yeah. So in various building, you have seen earlier, right? That this kind of structure we use. It's very difficult to make, but with the help of Grasshopper, you can do it with. You see how fast I have done this. So I will just merge these lines and I can make this pipe. And you can do a lot of other things as well, but for now I'm just showing with pipe and with very simple tools. So I can cap this and I can make this one. I can close Grasshopper and go to rendered view. You have this kind of structure made very fast and very easily.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for this kind of work, when you have a very complex shape, a lot of repetitive work, you can use Grasshopper to make these things very easily. Yeah, Kaz, please continue.
Let's get some comments from the students. I'm overwhelmed. So great. そうだね。じゃあ、浜崎さん、はじめまして。何か一言、もしよかったらお願いします。
はい、はじめまして。ありがとうございます。ここまで。
学生さんですか？
はい、今、大学3年生です。
あ、そうなんですね。He's here at university. はい。
ですね。僕の大学では3年生からこういうデジタルの、ソフトを使うことが、許されていたので、Rhinoを使い始めて、はい、ずっと初めてだったんですけど、今回の課題はそれで提出したんですが、今ちょっとグラスホッパーを使ってるのを見て、なんかあまりにもこの形を一瞬で作れるっていうところにものすごい魅力を感じたので、
そうですね。
なんか少しずつ、やっぱりライノとかグラスホッパーがなんか日本の学生の中でも広がってきていて、ライノは使う学生多いと思うんですけど、グラスホッパーってまだまだちょっと難易度が高いとみんな感じてる部分があると思うので、そういう部分をなんかしっかり勉強していきたいなっていうふうに今ちょっと拝見しながら思いました。
ありがとうございます。もし差し支えなければどちらの大学かお聞きしていいですか？
宇都宮大学です。
宇都宮大学、公立でしたっけ？
はい、国立です。
国立、失礼しました。
はい。
ちょっと知識がなくて、大変失礼しました。Okay, Shajib, we had another very interesting advice, comment from Ryotaro Hamasaki. He's at the third year. もしよかったら、英語で今の内容、直接伝えてもらってもいいですか？
いや、そこまでちょっと英語が堪能じゃないので、ちょっと。
ここは英語の建築英語を学ぶ会でもあると僕は思ってますので。
はい。
まあちょっと次回ですね。So, he's got very interesting comment for us. he is a third
Yeah.
year undergraduate at a public university. And it's funny enough, in Japan, I guess younger students are not allowed to use this kind of digital tool for their design proposal. It's strange, right? We have to learn how to draw by hand at first. I kind of agree and I kind of disagree. Anyway, his university doesn't allow until they become third year. And he knows how to use Rhinoceros. あれ、グラスホッパーも使ってるんでしたっけ？これからでしたっけ？
はい、グラスホッパーはこれからです。
Okay, so he's new to Grasshopper, but he's kind of capable with Rhinoceros. And by seeing your lecture, he's like, I have to learn this now, kind of thing. So,
Thank you.
and many Japanese architectural students, some, I would say, I don't know, maybe 50% or 30% of the whole Japanese architecture students can use Rhinoceros, but not Grasshopper. Grasshopper is difficult. Everybody thinks Grasshopper is difficult to learn. So it's I think it's great opportunity for you to introduce Grasshopper in very kind of friendly way for users. I mean, this is like you've done it in 10 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and everybody can do it. It's not very difficult. So
Yeah.
I think it's really, really precious lecture for all the students.
Thank you, Hamasaki. I am very glad that you have something that you are very interested. I hope this will help you along the way. And yeah, it's kind of true for my country as well. Our students are not allowed to use this AutoCAD and other, they can use 3D softwares on their own, but it's preferred that they produce all the drawings and everything with hand the first 2 years. Basically, in our country, in the first year, we don't do anything which is purely functional. We do abstract things, painting, drawings, composition, etc., experimental things, and grow a sense of aesthetics along the way. And we start introducing functional space with small projects in the second year. After second year, we go for big projects and students are allowed to use digital tools for their design and growth. So it's kind of same, I guess. We also start using computer from third year. So it's kind of okay.
Shajib,
But
sorry to interrupt you, but this
Yeah.
is a very important thing to discuss. ちょっと浜崎さんに質問です。英語でいい？Can I question you, 浜崎亮太郎?
Yes.
It's a question for everybody here. Do you did you spend your first year and the second year to design something like house, something like very small architecture, for example, public toilet or that kind of thing? When I was at university in Japan, I was asked to design small public toilet in the campus, small house, like something like ideal house or bright house, whatever the thing is. But you are not asked to draw paintings. You are not asked to produce sculpture. Is that right? But in UK, when I studied in UK, young students were only doing art. Everybody was not producing architectural drawing. They were always into producing art pieces. This is big difference between Japanese architectural education and foreign architectural education. And I just knew that in Bangladesh, Shajib, you also get this kind of artistic education at early years.
Yeah, kind of. I can show you the kind of work that I need to produce in first year. For example, some of my work at the end of the term, we need to submit a portfolio of work that we have completed in that 6 months. So this was our very first project to draw a composition with line. And then this was kind of working with materials. You need to cut a piece of paper into very thin slice of paper to make to improve the way you improve the precision of work and patience, something like that. And this is a composition on 2D surface. And then this kind of like modular work and working with surface. This was a group project that we created an abstract drawing with shade and shadow, something like that.
Nice.
And then there was this project, you need to draw yourself with just lines. Like in this picture, it's just various thickness of line, and you need to replicate one of your own photos, something like that.
Right.
And this kind of simple projects. That was our first semester of the first term. So you kind of grow a sense of aesthetics throughout this term, and then we move on to functional works.
So, can I question you? ごめんなさいね。なんか全然ライノとかグラスホッパーの話じゃなくなってるんですけど、でもこれすごい重要だと思ってるので、その建築教育のバックグラウンドが全く違うっていうことをまずは知ってもらえたらいいなと思ってですね。So, Shajib, this is question to you, Shajib.
Yeah, please.
Your country's education is based on kind of UK style?
Yeah. Our founding teachers and founding members were from UK, so we kind of replicate the UK style education here.
That's why これ初めて知ったんですけど、シャジブはイギリス系の建築教育を受けてるんですよ。で、僕も、イギリスに留学したので、学部を卒業した後に日本の建築教育つまんねえと思って、僕はもともとアーティスト気質なので、それで、イギリスの建築教育がすごい合うなと思ってイギリスに行ったんですけど、やっぱそうなんだな。バングラデシュはイギリスの影響を受けてんだ。Is it because your country is near to India?
Yeah, we were part of the British colonialism from 1756 to 1956. So we were part of England at a time. Then we became a part of India, and then we became independent. So all this mattered throughout this education, these curriculums.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and this is the portfolio of my level 1, my first year, second term. And in this, we start working with 3D objects. If you have noticed, the first term was kind of like 2D objects, all in a flat surface. This time we are going for 3D objects, making composition of dots, but in a 3D space, line and plane on a 3D space, and working with planes. So this is not anything functional, but we introduce functional objects and buildings and spaces in second year. This is the way we go. Yeah.
Very interesting. Thank you. ごめんなさい。本当にすんごい脱線したんですけど、これは超重要だなと思って、すいません。ちょっと完全に脱線しました。一回元に戻しましょう。とにかく知っていてもらいたいのは、僕もシャジブも基本的に同じ建築教育のバックグラウンドを持っていて、僕に関しては日本の建築教育は一通り受けたので、皆さんの、そういう意味では先輩で、皆さんの気持ちも分かっているつもりなんですけど、はい。なんで、僕らはアートの教育を受けているよと。皆さんはアートの教育を受けてない人がほとんどだと思うので、ちょっとそこが違いがあるよっていうのは 分かっていていただいた上で、おそらく maybe your lecture with this rhinoceros and grasshopper thing is perhaps related, influenced by your architectural educational background.
Yeah,
Maybe
sort of.
because I find your lecture is very practical and also it's got the aesthetic. It's got the aesthetic of how you achieve something beautiful, basically. It's
Yeah,
not just
sort
about,
of.
It's not just about how to use rhinoceros, how to use grasshopper, not that, but Japanese education tends to become, okay, let's start A, B, C, D, and then you don't get to the Z. But you're doing
Okay.
from the beginning. ごめんなさいね。本当に超脱線したんですけど、要は、ものすごい実践的なレクチャーを受けてるってことです。はい、以上にします。Okay, let's go back to your lecture.
Okay, and it's not just that you can work with only flat surfaces to make all these kind of crazy things. You can use any kind of fluid surface like this, and just you can change the input and make this thing work. And unfortunately, it's going in a opposite direction. You can just input a negative here and bring this value to and apply this to a curved surface as well. Okay, so this is very useful. If you are working with Grasshopper, you can produce any kind of structural elements and everything. You have not just this kind of structure. You can see here you have all the various kind of structures that we usually use in our buildings. And you have a lot of other things as well. You can use, for example, if I go to where is Parakeet? Yeah. Here in Parakeet, we can use any various types of brick pattern on our buildings, and you can we call it jali here, brick jali. I don't know what it's called in Japan, but any various kind of patterns you can create with the help of Grasshopper very quickly, very fast. So there are a lot of potential of Grasshopper, and if you learn this, you can. It's one thing that I want to mention about Grasshopper is that there is no limit to what you can learn through this. It's kind of depends on your creativity and the limit of your imagination. The more you can imagine and more you can make that imagination into a mathematics, you can build it in here, anything, everything. So I will just show a small, we already have passed 1 hour, so I will quickly wrap everything. And I will show last few things before I conclude today's class. It's just introductory. We'll have the full course when we start from the next month, beginning of the next month, I guess. I will just show up very quickly how you can, sometimes we see various high-rise building, right? In around the world, a lot of tall buildings with very interesting shapes. I will just quickly show how you can do that kind of form very quickly using Grasshopper. Say I have a something like this as a base. So I will just bring this curve here. Let's bring this curve. Sorry. I'll select this curve and I'll bring it in Grasshopper. For now, we don't need this 3. I will just select and hide this 3. Let's just work with this one. Okay. So we have, say, we have few floors for this shape of building. So I will just copy this floor. So I will just make the move element. I will move this element and I will move this in vertical direction. So it's unit Z. Okay. And I will move one floor, say 4,500 millimeter. So I will give here 4,500, which is one floor. Maybe our this. So you can see. So I can see this shape of this building I drew initially is very huge. It's not proportional. So I can just make this thing smaller now, and you see the one I copied in the later part with Grasshopper is also small. So, but in Rhino you could not have done that. You needed to do the thing again. It's easier if you are working with Grasshopper. So maybe a little bit smaller. Okay. So now I think it looks okay. I can change it later on, so it doesn't really matter. Okay. So, but I don't want to copy this to one times, right? Maybe my building is 70 floor high or 100, I don't know. So I will just make a series of number. I'll just make a series, start with 0, and steps is this 4500, and count is how many number of floors I want. Say it's say 70 floors. So I'll just give it here 70, and I can just change this single value to the series, and I got this array of floors. Okay. But it's not interesting. It's just a simple same shape copying. Let's make it interesting. Now, what I can do, I want to twist this building slightly for each floor. So I'll just, what I do is rotate every floors by 2 degrees, say, something like that. So I will bring rotate component here. I am trying to rotate these floors. Axis is unit Z. Sorry. Axis is something like I'm using the wrong rotate option. I can just use this one. That's easier. So rotate, and I will use the centroid as the plane, and angle I will use the same one, but here I don't want it to be 0 to 4500. I want it to be 2 degrees each floor. Okay, so I have this number of items, and I give this to angle, but I am using degree, so I will select degree here. Okay, so let's hide the beginning part. So you can see I have this very twisted form like this. And I also want to do something else with this. So I don't know if it's visible or not. Each floor is a little bit rotated, and it goes like this. Okay. Another thing that I want to do is like make the upper part a bit smaller than the lower part. So it's kind of like this. Where is my control for? Yeah. So I'm kind of trying to make this building a little bit like this, and it's rotating as well. So, okay, let's do this directly. So this is my new floors, and I can just make the rotation, right? Okay, so I will, scale. I will just scale everything. Scale all this geometry, and this is my centers, and not in an individual. I will copy this one and use this as a factor, but I will start with 0.0 to 1 to no, I will start with 1, and then I go slightly smaller each step. 0.01, 0.01, okay, 0.01, but negative. Negative, like this, okay. So if I hide this one, you can see the building is smaller like this, but 0.1 is too large because it's very narrow in the top. Maybe 0.001, 0.005. It looks okay to me. It doesn't matter. We can change everything later on whenever we need. So now we have kind of have the shape of the building that we want. So I will just loft everything. I can have this shape. So this is the shape that I wanted. So if I bake this, where you can see I have this kind of twisted geometry very quickly. Okay. Another, it's not just this I can do with Rhino. I can, Grasshopper. I can do a lot of other things as well. Let's see what else can we do. We have this shape of the floor, right? We already have this shape. So I can just make the floors as well. Boundary surface, geometry. Now I also have all the different floors in this here. And it's not just surface. I can now just extrude everything. Let's do some extrusion, extrude, base, direction unit Z. And I know one floor is kind of 150 mm thickness or maybe higher, whatever you think. And now we have a thickness of the floor as well. So we have this thickness, maybe 150 is too low. Let's give it 250. So it's kind of a bit thicker now. And let's make this more interesting. Like I have this surface already, and let's make some structures as well. So let's go to this lunchbox, and I want, let's say, hexagonal structure. So I'll go to bring this surface. Now I have this kind of structure on my building, maybe a little bit higher. So let's, I don't know, 10 now by default. Let's give it 25 in this direction, and maybe 12 in this direction. Kind of, I think it will look good. Yeah, something like this looks good. Okay, and I have this structure line. I'll just make this pipe for now. And go to this curve, say 500. Okay, so okay, I have this surface, bake. Okay, and I have these floors. Let's bake. Okay, I can close Grasshopper. So I have this everything almost done. So I'll just apply one material here. +3. +3. Let me give this a color of turquoise, maybe transparency something. So what I was trying to say is that you can make this kind of structures and high-rise building with floors, and you can do a lot more details inside this. I can give it more time and make more structural elements inside this smaller, and we can give all other things that we need to do here in Grasshopper. So this is something that you can, I didn't take even 10 minutes to do this. So and I don't have any design. I just did it spontaneously, whatever came to my mind. So if you have more time and think about your design in details, you can produce very beautiful things very quickly, and that's it. So I was trying to show what other things that you can do with Grasshopper. So I think it's very interesting, and you can do a lot of things with Grasshopper if you continue learning this tool. So because I think that's it for today.
Yes.
If anyone have any questions and others, I can gladly answer.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. せっかくなんで、皆さん、ミュート外して、ああだこうだ言いましょうか。I'm so amazed by your lecture today. I wish I had this when I was 22 or 20 years old. And my life would have been different. But at the time,
Thank you.
there was no grasshopper available. Anyway, 本当にすごいね。めちゃくちゃすごいね。多分、I guess you are not able to have this kind of education in university. Maybe you do. I'm not sure. But I can say that Shajib is very, very skilled and he knows aesthetic and he knows the skill. So yeah, he's very great one to learn from. 浜崎さん、ミュートが外れてるから喋りたいってことですね。
そう、ジャパニーズでも少しいいですか？
いや、そろそろイングリッシュでいきますか。ちょっと練習でどうぞどうぞ。
In UK, university student study about art, but Japanese student not study about art. In UK, Grasshopper is used
Whether it's popular or not.
popular
ですよね。
どのように
どのように使われているか。
どのようにはい。
How it's being used for schools abroad, like AA school. Let's see what they do. Okay, let me share my screen. I'm not able to share my Rhino screen, but I can share Google Chrome. Okay, so this is the website of the AA school, for example. And you can go to what they do. Like projects, I'm not so sure. So if you go to, this is what I did when I was thinking about studying abroad. I searched on the internet, but there was not enough information on the internet, obviously. I had no way to look for students' work in abroad, but now you are able to see everything. So you have to go online and see what everybody else in the world are doing. Let's say in AA school, as far as I know, sorry, the website is really no good. And you can check what they are producing, like because like Shajib explained, foreign architecture students are learning very different things. Depending on your age, depending on your year, you are learning completely different things. When you're younger, 若い時はすごいアートなことを習うし、卒業に近づくにつれてより実践的なことを習う場合が多いですけど、とは言っても基本的にまあすごいアーティスティックですね。卒業設計とかも Harvard. You can look at AA School, Harvard. Those two are the top universities in the world, I think. Sorry, I cannot find the right information right now, but you can go to the internet and find what they are doing. Maybe you can do TikTok, Instagram to find. Maybe you can even meet with actual person, architecture. I strongly suggest you to communicate directly with foreign students. If you're adventurous and if you're curious enough to know what's happening in the world, I do suggest you to communicate directly to the students outside, and you will get the response from them. If you take action, you will get something. I definitely think that way. なんかこういうウェブサイトとかで学生さんがどういうのをやってるかとか学ぶことで、じゃあグラスホッパー使っているのかなとか、意外とグラスホッパーに頼らずにやってるのかなとか、そういうのも見えてくると思うんですよね。例えば、for example, like this project, I don't think this guy is using Grasshopper. Maybe, but he is more concerned about something else. I don't know. He's more concerned about conventional design. It's 結局、自分が何をやりたいかによるので、
Yes.
It depends on what you want to do and what's your style. And I suggest you to explore. いろいろ試してみて、自分が好きなスタイルを見つけるっていうのをお勧めします。Maybe you like this kind of simple stuff. And then you might not need the Grasshopper. But if you like this kind of bit of crazy stuff, then you definitely should go to Grasshopper.
Yeah, that's true, kind of. But it's also true that, for example, if you want to make railings, say, it's very time consuming to make railings one by one and everything. But if you know Grasshopper, you can, for example, if you are doing a conventional design, still you need to make louvers, you still need to make facades with some elements, and you still need to work with structures, everything. So Grasshopper is also useful for this conventional design elements as well, not just to make very crazy stuffs. Yeah, it's true. You can do a lot of crazy stuffs. You can do a lot of analysis, structural analysis, environmental analysis. I have not shown everything today, but you have very powerful analysis tool. For example, Ladybug, you can do all kind of environmental analysis, heat gain, solar radiation, sun path, etc., etc. You can do structural analysis using Karamba or Kangaroo, that kind of thing. So even if you're doing conventional design, very organic, orthogonal designs, you still need Grasshopper a lot of times. And if you have this tool, you can explore yourself into if you are liking more crazy stuffs or not. So whatever it is you are doing, conventional or very utopian design ideas, I think it's better if you at least have the idea how it works, what you can do with this. So I think everyone in today's time and in future, the more time we pass, you will need you will have the necessity and create computational design. So you will need this kind of tools.
いやいや、ちょっと日本語で言うと、まあ、その普通の四角い建物であっても、さっきシャジブが作ってくれたみたいな、ちょっとクレイジーな形が自分の好みじゃないよっていう方でも、 グラスホッパーを使う意味っていうのがあって、例えば今こう画面共有して見せてる画像っていうのは、レディーバグっていうツール、グラスホッパーの中のレディーバグっていうツールを使うと、建物の熱負荷、どれだけ太陽熱を受けるかとかっていうのをこうやって示せたりとか、環境シミュレーションっていうんですけどね、風がどういうふうに通り抜けるかとか、Can you do airflow study? I think you can.
Yeah, you can do airflow.
Yeah.
It's under Ladybug's another component. It's called butterfly.
But
You will
okay.
need butterfly.
You can study the sun, 日陰の検証とか、こんなんもできるし、あと、structural analysis, what's the caramba?
Yeah.
Caramba. So, yeah. 構造的な負荷がどこにどれぐらいかかるかっていうのをこうやってグラフィカルに示せたりとか、こういうのもグラスホッパーでできるんですよね。So, even if you're designing very simple boxy building, you still have benefit by learning Grasshopper. Actually, my company, as Saseke, there are many structural engineers using Grasshopper to do this kind of study. And a designer like me also use Grasshopper to study detailed proportions and 例えば、あずさ設計で言うと、トップの方はもうグラスホッパーでデザインを検証しようっていうふうに指示したりします。So it's almost essential for everybody who's related to architectural industry. Even if you're not a designer, you almost must learn this. Otherwise, you don't get job. That's a bit of ちょっと誇張しましたけど、本当に覚えていて損はないし、覚えていれば国内でも働けるし、海外でも働けると思います。Okay. Is that about it? Do we?
Yeah, and one last thing is that maybe we won't be able to show you everything, every tool available in Grasshopper and Rhino in this course, in the full course. But you will have enough knowledge to explore on your own to learn everything that you need to know. Because if you have zero idea about something, it's kind of scary that maybe it's very difficult. Maybe I won't be able to do it, and something like that. But if you have a little bit of knowledge that how it was, at least I know where I need to find find the help to learn this part. Then you will have the edge and benefits that you can search the internet and go through their script and their website and replicate their techniques to incorporate in your design.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have the basic knowledge, it will be helpful on the way of your learning in future.
そうですね。そう、だから基本を、ここで身につければ、あとは意外とネット上にそのグラスホッパーのスクリプトとかダウンロードできるものが転がってたりとか、あるいはフォーラム、グラスホッパーのフォーラムのページとかあるんですけど、そこでこういうのを作りたいんだけど、ここがうまくいかなくてみたいな質問をしたら、君のために作ってあげたよみたいな人が、親切な人が結構いたりとかしてですね、意外とベーシックなところだけ学んどけば、あとはいろいろ広げられるっていうのがあるので、まずはスタート切るところをここで始めていただけたら、多分全然違う世界が広がると思います。Okay. Shajib, should we listen to some comments from students?
Yeah, sure.
せっかくなんで、皆さん全員からちょっとコメントいただきたいので、パーティシパンさん、参加者の上から順番に、じゃあ、児玉さん、お願いします。あと、ごめんなさい、並行して、前回からですね、ちょっとアンケートへの回答をお願いしてまして、無料で今回まで3回の、無料コースをお送りしてるんですけども、それに対してのコメントとか、10回コース、先ほど最初にお伝えした学生さん9800円、社会人29800円っていうコースなんですけど、それを実際受講したいかどうかっていうところの、お気持ちを、現時点でのお気持ちを伺いたくて、アンケートを送らせていただいてますので、ちょっと無料でここまで提供しているというところを踏まえてですね、ぜひ必ずアンケートにご回答お願いします。よろしくお願いします。はい。じゃあ、児玉さん、今チャットに、ここの Zoom のチャットに、先ほど言った Google フォームの、なんだっけ、アンケートを送りましたので、順番待ってる間に皆さん回答をお願いします。はい。じゃあ、児玉さん。
はい。自分は、今、大学2年生なんですけど、
はい。
このライノセラス以外のなんか違うソフトを使っていて、最近ライノセラスを学び始めたんですけど、なんか学校の課題とかで結構複雑な構造体を作るときに結構不便だなって常々感じていたので、
ライノセラスがですかじゃなくて。
ライノセラスを使ってないときに結構複雑なやつを使うと、時間を作っちゃう、作るのに苦労しちゃったので、
ちなみに児玉さん、英語で喋れたりしますか？
いや、
大丈夫ですよ。いや、もう本当実際全員喋れるんだから喋りましょう。大丈夫。You can do it.
難しい。
じゃあ次回からね。So he uses another software. 何を使ってるんですか、今？
今、ArchiCAD を使って、基本的な。
ArchiCAD。
はい。
It's crap. ArchiCAD で he's trying to create complex geometry using ArchiCAD, but he struggles with creating the kind of structure he wants to create. That's why he started to learn Rhinoceros. どうぞ。
Yeah, there's a good news for him because you can directly connect Grasshopper with ArchiCAD as well. You can look at the internet and you can see how Grasshopper is connected to ArchiCAD directly, and you can create objects in Grasshopper and it will directly import to your ArchiCAD model simultaneously, like live sync. It's called live sync ArchiCAD and Grasshopper. You can search internet, and it's not just ArchiCAD. You can link Grasshopper with Revit, ArchiCAD, and some other softwares as well. So
I strongly suggest. So BIM, we have Revit and ArchiCAD. In Japan, ArchiCAD is kind of more powerful, but in the world, Revit is definitely the one to be used. And
it's kind of like if you are working with European countries and you are more interested to work with Europe and want to go for study in Europe, then you should stick with ArchiCAD, I think.
Really?
Because ArchiCAD is more popular in Europe, but in America, Canada, North American countries, it's Revit all the way.
I see.
But it's not much of a difference between them. So if you learn one software, maybe you give 10 days of time and you can just shift to another one. The basics are same. So,
That's true. But I would say Revit has more function to the
Yeah.
real business scene. Revit の方がその建設とかその実務においては有利ですね。明らかに。Okay. And then both Revit and ArchiCAD has function to import Rhino model spontaneously. So you can create crazy structure in Grasshopper, and then you can import into ArchiCAD and Revit.
Yeah, as you can see in this photo that you can directly import your Grasshopper element inside ArchiCAD directly from Grasshopper. So if you learn Rhino and Grasshopper, then you can work with BIM softwares directly. Like if it's a roof, you will just import that as a surface to Rhino and Grasshopper, then you can work on your crazy stuffs in Grasshopper and it will directly go to ArchiCAD without doing anything on your part. And if like this, it's simultaneous. If you change in Rhino, it will directly and immediately change in ArchiCAD as well.
Thank you.
Just look around internet. You can have an idea.
児玉さんありがとうございます。じゃあ、まあ、その、to produce a little complicated geometry that you would like to produce, you want to learn Rhinoceros and Grasshopper, right?
Yes, I agree.
Okay. All right, let's move on to next person. How about Ryotaro Hamasaki? Sorry.
Yes. I really want to study Grasshopper and I hope to enjoy architects.
Nice. What's your dream?
Dream.
Dream.
Dream. Now I want to build architects
Yes, we can.
about house.
House.
Yes.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any question? なんか質問とかありますか？感想。こんなことしてほしいとか。Let me add a bit more. So if you take this 10 course lecture, you are able to get the Q&A option. So if you will be in the Rhino group line, and then if you post question inside the group line, and then Shajib will answer you to the question.
Yes. Yes, okay.
And in the group line, the writing can be translated automatically into Japanese and in English. And if it's strange, then I can correct. So mostly you should be able to communicate with Shajib directly for any questions.
Yes.
はい。じゃあ、next、あれ、今、浜崎さん喋ってくれたんだよね。
Yes.
OK。
はい、そうです。
あれ、児玉さん、もう一回いいですか？
はい。何をって。
なんか感想とか、もっとこうして
僕、
どうでしょうか？
もう一回ですか？
ん
一番最初に言ったと。
ああ、そうなんだけど、まあ今日の聞いた上で、グラスホッパーの話はなかったと思うから、どうでしょうか？
さっき複雑なやつを設計していて、
ごめんなさい。
結構時間食うって話してたんですけど。
そうか、ごめんなさい。浜崎さんとこうちょっと申し訳ない。
すいません。
はい。アーキキャドで反映できるよねって話ですね。失礼しました。OK。Let's move on to 龍が。
All right. I don't have good comments or I don't have good question, but as you know, Shajib is gonna be good for everyone. And thank you for always or politely teaching us how to use it. And yeah, I decided to take your class, 10 classes. I don't know. And yeah, thank you.
I definitely think you will learn so much from the 10 class, and I hope you can produce great stuff for your student work.
Yeah, I downloaded it yesterday, and I control and I created an object, but it was complicated, so I learned and yeah, I catch up quickly. So yeah.
Nice. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, keep going. The next, 下川さん、今日3回目ですけど、いいですか？
はい、ありがとうございました。なんか、さっきそのイギリスの話とかもあったと思うんですけど、私が授業で、3年生の時に AA スクールで学んで、今も全然先生なんですけど、そういう先生が私に授業を教えてくださった時があって、やっぱり日本の先生が教える先生とは違って、本当にアーティスティックな授業で、なんか違う学びができて、シェファー先生。シェファー。
外国人？
そうです。
下川さんはどこですか、学校は？
私は日本女子大学です。
日本女子大学。
はい。
日本女子大学の学生さんはみんなその A スクールの教育をちらっと受けるんですか
？3年生でもまだ建築の授業を取ってたら受け入れます。
そうなんだ。
ただもう一部辞めちゃう子もいるので、途中でも
う。めちゃくちゃいいですね。
そうなんで、とってもいい機会ですよ。
はい。So she gets AA school education 3年生の時だけ？
そうです。なんかセメスターごとにどんどん先生が変わってしまうので。
1年間
1年の4分の1の時期だけですね。
それは足りないな。So he gets opportunity to learn from AA school tutor only quarter of the third year. That's not enough, but she gets a great sense of how another one is doing. それすごいですね。
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's amazing.
で、今日の感想は、なんか、ライノはほとんどできるんですけど、やっぱりすごい最近、時間がかかるなっていうのを感じてて、もっと効率よくモデリングすることが結構求められてるなって感じてるので、 少しずつグラスホッパーを学んでいこうと改めて感じました。
So she is okay with rhinoceros already, but it takes time to model, and she would like to learn grasshopper from now on. 素晴らしい。
Okay, that's great.
じゃあ、
I think you will learn the basics of Grasshopper if you take the 10 class. Maybe it's not just 10, I think it will be around 12, I guess, because if we include Grasshopper, we'll need to have around 5 classes for Grasshopper, so and around 7 class for Rhino, so it will be around 12 class, more than 10 and less than 12, something like that, and you will have the basics of both the software, both the tools.
Nice. So you're giving two lecture bonus.
Yeah, kind of.
So generous. 下川さん、次は英語でお願いします。I know you learned from AA school tutor, so you don't have excuse. Okay. How about 若林さん in English, if you can, please.
英語で話すんですか？
はい。マストでお願いします。
ちょっとあれですよ。全然自分喋れないんで、なんか、ここ間違ってるとかあったりとかしたら、ちょっとサポートとか、ちょっとお願いしてもいいですか？あと分かんなかったら、ちょっとすぐお願いします。
はい、任せてください。
お願いします。どうしようかな。なんて言えばいいんだろう。Thank you for lesson and Rhino and Grasshopper. When I take a class, my teacher said, when you use a Rhino, you have to become to use Grasshopper becauseなんて言うんだろうな。
日本語でいいですよ。
世界の、なんだろう。先生が、日本、なんだっけな。世界だったらやっぱライノとか使ってる人ってグラスホッパー使えないと全然話にならないし、で、それ使わないとレビットもうまく使えない、レビットにそっちにも移行できないから、グラスホッパー使えるってだけで、優遇されてもそれから使えるようにした方がいいみたいなこと言ってて、っていう話を考えたんですけど、ちょっと難しかったです。
So in school, his tutor encouraged him to learn Grasshopper and Rhinoceros to be capable with working abroad and also introducing. I'm not so sure about Revit. I'm not so sure about what his tutor said about Revit, but his tutor was kind of saying, you need a skill for the Rhino and Grasshopper to also learn about Revit.
Yeah, we need all these 3 softwares. So hopefully you will be helped by the course. Thank you.
Yeah, I think if you want to learn how to model architecture in 3D, minimum is either ArchiCAD or Revit plus Revit and Grasshopper. That's minimum. What do you think, Shajib?
Yeah, I also think it's better to have idea about a parametric software and the 3D modeling software that can be Grasshopper, Rhino, or ArchiCAD or Revit, anything that you prefer. And you also need to have knowledge about some kind of visualization software like Lumion or Inkscape or B5, something like that.
Yeah.
And maybe V-Ray if you are very professional in that way. V-Ray, 3ds Max. So, and knowledge has no, what should I say? Knowledge has no, there is no loss in learning something new. If you don't use that, but you still have idea to, it's still having some idea which you can at least judge other people how they're doing and how they have done the particular work. So it's better to have idea about various software, even if you don't use it in your actual work.
Yeah, especially when you're a student, I suggest you learn everything as much as you can. And also, I suggest you to find the tool that you really love so that you can become specialist into it. はい。すいません。
Yes, I agree.
I wouldn't say I was specialized in any, tool, or I was capable with all the tools at the time, but yeah, there's no negative thing to learn more things. Lastly, Ibuta-kun, please conclude this precious lecture.
Thank you for great coaching for me, for us, about Rhinoceros and Grasshopper. And in this list, I try to learn how to use Grasshopper, but it's hard for me because there are many kinds of components to run. So do you think it is a good way to learn a kind of components for beginner?
Yeah, I have already told in the class that learning Grasshopper has no limit. There are thousands of plugins. Even if you run out of plugins from other people, you can create your own components in Grasshopper that do particular things for you. So there is no limit to learn Grasshopper. You have thousands of components. But for beginning to learn the tool, you will need to have some basic component how the thing works. You need to understand the way Grasshopper works. It's pure mathematics. And those of you who are very good at maths, maybe have interest in programming and scripting in other programming language like C, C++, or Python. If you are familiar with Python language, then you are going to love Grasshopper because it's kind of math. You are thinking of something and dividing it into smaller mathematical components, and you are thinking the whole thing as a group of mathematical functions. Whatever you don't need to worry about how difficult it is or if I'm going to learn it or not. I think if you continue the class and if you practice along the way and you are patient enough about and keen enough to learn the thing, you will at the end of the course and after some time you will be confident enough to work on your own.
Okay, I think I know everybody is kind of worried about if you can become as good as Shajib or if you can learn how to do what you want to do, but just go ahead, if you decide to learn, then you will learn. I think that way. And you are a student, you have no limitation. You learn so much. You don't believe how you will be in next year. You will be completely different person. I promise you. If you are trying to, then you will learn so much.
Yeah, and I have already completed my graduation, but still I am learning. Even in this Grasshopper tool, I am learning new things every day. Like I'm going to do something and I don't know how to do it. I look for the solution in internet. I go to various forums and ask around how to do it and everything. And I learn every day new things. So it's not about learning the whole thing. It's about knowing the process, how you can do it ultimately. If you have a problem, you will not instantly have the solution, but you will know that's why I need to start. And that's why I need to find how I can do that. And ultimately, if you give some time, you will know how to do the particular thing. So don't worry about if I am going to do that particular work. You will know how to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, it's quite late already. Let's finish the meeting. But I have got a question from Shimoka-san. I'm not so sure what it means. So, could you explain that directly?
Yeah, please ask your question.
なんか Google フォームの書き方の話ですかね。
いや、なんか、ライノとグラスホッパーの、コースが、なんか、by recorded session と register for live session があって、register の方を申し込む方で合ってますか？
OK。ですね。今のところ、その日本向けのそのシャジブのこのレクチャーのサービスっていうのが、なんていうかな、今回初めてなんで、まあ、ちょっと、なんていうかな、そこまでかっちりホームページとかないんですよね。で、ホームページの情報っていうのは外国人向けに過去に、まあ、これまでにやってきている内容なので、もし申し込みをする場合は、この Google フォームで申し込みますっていうふうに回答してもらったら、あとは個別に私の方から、連絡をさせていただいて、支払い方法とか、コースの内容とか、そういうのを連絡していくような形になります。
わかりました。ありがとうございます。
はい、すみません。
すみません、質問いいですか？
はい、どうぞ。
なんかさっき、その言語体、なんかホームページ見させていただいて、なんか、同じようにその日本語対応のやつが分からなかったんで、決めかねてるっていうふうに入力しちゃったんですけど、もう一回 Google フォームの方をなんか記入し直して、あれ参加するっていうふうにすれば連絡っていうのはいただけますか？
もちろんそうですし、まあ、LINE でつながってますよね、もう皆さん。
はい、多分グループの方に入ってるんで。
LINE の講習のグループに入ってもらってますよね。
はい。
なんで、そこで、希望しますとか言ってもらったら、ちょっとすいません。やり始めなので、ちょっとシステムがまだ整ってないんですけど、グループ LINE でやりますって言ってくれたら、そのように、扱わせていただきますので、で、もし Google フォームで修正記入ができないんですかね。修正記入ができなかったらできませんでしたとか言っていただければ、はい、大丈夫です。参加できるように調整しますので問題ありません。
わかりました。ありがとうございます。それってどういう形で進むんですか？なんか定期的にこうやって会を開いてやっていいかな、それともなんか、なんだろう、録画とかそういうのを見て、
定期的に開催していく形になりますね。So, Shajib,
わかりました。
There's a question about how the 10 or 12 sessions are going to be took place. So we will decide on the schedule, right?
About the schedule, I think it's better to have 2 classes each week according to your convenience, as in when it's preferable. If it's on weekends, I don't mind. I have time. I can take the class any day. So, but I think it's better to have 2 classes each week so that we can have around 1.5 months to complete the whole course. And I think that's a good time frame to learn the software.
Yeah. So maybe one day on weekday and one day on weekend, that kind of thing. And if you miss the class, you will be able to see archive.
You will receive the class recordings in YouTube. We will share the I think we will not share this time the paid classes in publicly. We will share that privately to each participants. So you can just access if you are registered. So we will have the class recordings.
Yes. So only those who have the permission can watch the YouTube.
Yeah.
And also those who register can only ask questions during the 10 course lessons. それで答えになってますかね。
ありがとうございます。
はい。OK。全員回ったし、とりあえずすみません、11時までかかっちゃったんですけど、これで一旦終わりにしようと思います。Are we ready to finish this meeting today?
Yeah, I think it's that's it for today. I think we should end the meeting now.
Okay. Let's discuss about the 4th lecture schedule. Are we doing in a week or so?
I think we should start from the beginning of July.
Okay.
From the first week of July. In the meantime, let's see how many students join our course. So after that, we will make a schedule and share with the students how they can join and how they can participate. Maybe we'll take the classes via Google Classroom. So we'll have all the information in a place. So you can look up there.
Okay.
I will make a preferable schedule discussing with you on our own. So let's discuss that later.
Okay. じゃあ7月の頭から、平日と週末1日ずつでちょっと定期的なスケジュール組みますので、皆さんのスケジュールに合わせるのは難しいので、もし見れなかったら YouTube のリンクをプライベートで共有させていただいて、で、後日質問いただくなどでフォローアップさせていただくという形でお願いします。で、もし興味のありそうなお友達とかいたらぜひ紹介していただければ嬉しいです。Shajib, are we, for example, これか。なんでもないです。OK。じゃあ、こんなところで終わりましょうかね。If you want to have question, if you want to question anything before deciding whether you take this course or not, please don't hesitate to contact us. もしこの講座を受けるかどうかで迷ってて、何か質問したいとかあったら、私の方とか、グループ LINE で直接質問してもらってもいいので、ぜひぜひ検討してみてください。僕が逆の立場だったら絶対にお願いするなっていう内容だと思ってます。本当に誇張なく素晴らしいレクチャーだなと思っているので、もし1回目、2回目のレクチャー聞いてない方、必ず YouTube 見ていただいて、どれぐらいシャジブの説明が分かりやすいかっていうのを聞いてもらって、 判断していただければと思います。And also, Shajib, I think we should produce kind of a useful shortcut explanation sheet for everyone.
Yeah, I will provide that.
Because
I already have shortcut list and sheet prepared. I will share with the students in the beginning of the class next month.
Okay. For example, earlier, before this lecture started, Ryuga asked me a question, how to do this command that you introduced in the first or second lecture, which was to select one edge of an object to modify like this. And I told him, just press Control and Shift together and then click the edge. So this kind of thing, it's sometimes difficult to follow everything. So we should we should provide you.
Yeah, I have a shortcut sheet prepared already. I will share that with the students at the beginning of our paid classes.
Okay. So なんかこういうショートカットリストみたいなのも、有料のレクチャーを受けていただく方だけがもらえるみたいなんで、ぜひぜひそれも合わせてご検討ください。ということで、今日は終わりにしたいと思います。Is that all today?
Yeah, I think that's all.
Right. Thank you very much.
Good night, guys, and good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I hope this was useful for you. Let's see what brings us in the future. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. ではでは。
Thank you.
Thank you.
はい。ありがとうございます。
Yeah, have a good one.
ありがとうございました。
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 はい。
Guys, can we discuss something?
Sure.
Everyone lives.
Yeah. Busy day, right?
Yeah, busy day. Sorry about the window thing. I have already done the window. Is it all right?
Oh, it's perfect.
Is it like this?
Yes, it's too perfect.
And there is this. Do you need this window as well?
Yeah, please.
Okay, I will add this window and send you the file.
Thank you. So
You don't need the drawing, right? I will delete the drawing. Okay. Okay, I will share this and let's discuss about the Itoshima tiny house in the morning, in your morning. It's already very late for you, I guess. I have already prepared some drawings and I will show you that and let's see if it's all right or not and discuss also the issue about smaller floor or anything if you have to discuss.
I mean,
so that's it for now. Let's see.
I'm okay to have discussion 30 minutes more. Do you want to do it?
Actually, I have another meeting from, no, actually I have another meeting from 11, your time 11. So it's already past that. I have to go for that.
Okay.
Let's meet in the morning.
All right. What time? Give me your message.
Anytime. When do you wake up tomorrow morning?
Let's do 8 o'clock. No, 7. Is that okay?
7. Yeah, 7 is okay for me.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much. See you.
Okay. Thank you.
It was great. Thank you.
Thank you.